Hi, Raviyanki.
Hi, Deepa. Good evening.
Good evening. So, welcome to the Leadership Inside Out series. And for all of you who are listening, today I'm in conversation with Raviyanki, who is the lead HR for India Business for an HR solutions organization. So, a little bit about her: an HR person in her profession, a leader in her position, and a strong mental health advocate in her being is what made me reach out to her for this conversation. And thank you very, very much for agreeing to this.
Thank you, Deepa. It's an opportunity to just talk my heart out as a
Absolutely.
leader. And
Absolutely.
so to say, I'm a budding leader. I can say that. And it's an opportunity. Yeah.
Thank
So
you. Yeah. If you could share a bit about, your professional background as a leader and also your connection with mental health and well-being.
sure. So I have been working for over 15 years now. And I'm into leadership since the gone past approximately 7 years or so. And currently, I'm in Bangalore. I have a small team. Um, and leadership uh, for me gradually came in. I think for most of us, it comes in gradually. We do not join organizations, leaving one job, joining the other as a leader.
Correct.
In our current positions, we get to have teams. We start mentoring, and then
Correct.
we start managing
Correct.
teams.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, this conversation is interesting for me because there are many people who talk about leadership, but often we do not speak about the inner world of a leader. And that's why I've called this an inside out leadership series. So, uh, a lot of times we as a leader face difficult situations. Stress is inevitable. So, how do you manage stress? And because you are working for an HR solutions organization, what do you see as a scenario in different organizations, and how are employees facing it?
Right. I think your question is almost related. All of those sentences are related to each other. So, to begin with, how do I manage stress? I think to disconnect is the best way to manage stress, particularly in the corporate world, working for almost 12 hours a day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
not just us, our teams are working
Yes, absolutely.
just as much. And there are times when we don't even realize that um,
Yeah.
our teams are much lesser in the number of years of experience that they come with. They're younger. Their capacity to manage stress and pressure may be far less than
Absolutely.
us, right?
Absolutely.
When
Absolutely.
we in tandem of doing things, getting things done, bearing pressure, passing it on, we kind of oversee all of that. And
Yes.
I think that is something that one needs to be conscious about. Um, there are times when we know that something is stressing us out at work, some project, and we're dependent on our teams. But we just need to remind ourselves how much pressure to pass on and how much of the stress to pass on. And that's most important. And also remind our teams to disconnect and manage their stress.
Yes, so important, so important. And that's probably one of the ways to also manage your work and life and setting boundaries. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So setting boundaries, like I said, um, I am unfortunately one of those professionals who does not practice that herself. Off late, I haven't been because I have the opportunity to kind of, work, and I have a very, very supportive family
Yeah.
who takes care of things back at home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am blessed that way. But and I'm taking advantage of them. So yeah, I see that. But when it comes to kind of balancing work life, I think I am one of those people who kind of reminds my team member that now stop.
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut off and take care. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And if I have to reach out to them, during the weekend, I do apologize to them, and I genuinely feel bad about feel a little concerned that the other person may be feeling pressurized or may have to change their personal plans for maybe conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So during the last 1.5 years, the scenario completely changed. How did this impact back there, in the real corporate world?
Very honestly, when it started, we were all over the place, right?
Yes.
Everybody was trying to run about, and we had no idea what we were doing in terms of managing work life, managing our teams. We were just working and trying to, manage that work from home scenario. Right? It in itself seemed like a crisis, right?
Absolutely.
Until lately, when it became a way of life, and then we started thinking on, what are the best practices within, working from home. And that is when work-life balance, working hours, all of that have gradually popped up, and we're now being more conscious about it. As an HR person, I definitely advocate that. But I also know that not all job positions and not all organizations can afford to, strictly work between those hours. So then they need to be given perks in terms of, time off later on, or compensatory leave, or, flexible work timings, all of that.
Mm-hmm. So the HR policies then
be tweaked. Yes.
Amazing. To facilitate the balance for the leader, for the employees. Yeah, beautiful. Raviyanki, what I'm seeing is you're being so authentic and vulnerable, which is such an important quality of a leader. And I'm talking about because it's inside out, vulnerability is quite a trait. However, there are times when I've heard people saying, as a leader, if I show my vulnerability, then I'll be treated as a soft leader. Things are changing, I know. I need to show that I am strong. So, what's your take on that? Have you experienced that with yourself, with the leaders you manage in your different roles in the last 15 years?
Deepa, I think being a strong leader is one thing, and being strong as a person is another thing. I don't think we need to put on the strength show when we're trying to lead a team. If we're strong as individuals, we're just strong and we lead it that way. And being strong does not mean not expressing yourself, not expressing your emotions. Yeah, you can be strong at the same time, be logical and empathetic. So I think logic and empathy, the balance is there.
Yeah, the right and the left brain. Yeah.
That's exactly
what's I think it's beautiful, the balance. So leading with the heart and leading with the head, and then the absolute right balance between the two. Yeah. So from an inner perspective, what do you think are the challenges today's leaders are facing?
I think it's very difficult to actually judge what the team is going through. You're not working together. You're not able to see what environment that individual is working in. It's not always that employees or team members are vocal about their challenges.
Yeah.
Right? They don't come up with it all the time. If you're working together next to each other, you kind of look at them, their body language, and sense it.
Yeah.
So I think as leaders, our biggest challenge is to be able to observe and understand what the team is going through, what is their need, and then come to a judgment or decide and plan stuff for them, whether it be their learning, whether it be giving them an opportunity for work-life balance, some time off work, some counseling, maybe engagement, all of that. But to be able to understand when what is required is
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is beautifully articulated as a challenge in the outer for the leader. What do you think a leader would be facing inside, which they might have not voiced? What could be their inner challenges?
I think the
What are
best
your inner challenges? Innermost challenges?
um, my my major challenge as a leader is that I struggle between setting a standard and leading by example. So, in order to be able to do that, I have to set high standards for myself and only then ensure that the team does it. But I fail because I'm a human. And when I fail, then I am in two minds whether how is my team perceiving it?
Hmm.
Are they looking at me as somebody who has high demands but is not sticking to her own standards?
Yeah, yeah,
That is my major struggle.
yeah, yeah.
And I get into a dilemma then.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And at this time, when you meet such situations, what do you tell yourself? What are your inner voices going on?
I think first things first, I tell myself, okay, so if the team has a certain perception, I should be able to change that over time. Plus, I believe unless I am happy or I am content, whether it be as a leader or as a professional or as an individual, I will not be able to, you know, pass that on.
Yeah,
So I think at that moment, everything boils down to my capacity
yeah,
and what gives me peace. So I kind of disconnect, get to that, and I tell myself it's all right
yeah.
to maybe not be perceived as the best leader, but what's important for me then is the second bit, that is ensuring that the team is safe, doing well,
Yeah,
and happy in their
yeah.
space. Even if they think that I'm not the best leader, it's all right.
Mm, mm,
As long
mm,
as they're growing as individuals and happily working, it's
mm.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite a bit of responsibility you carry for the team as well as for yourself. Yeah. And I hear you say that when you disconnect, you're able to connect with yourself and really restore the balance. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, thank you for engaging Raviyanki in this conversation. So, as we have been speaking, for the last few minutes, are there any thoughts or yeah, are there any thoughts that are running in your mind which you would like to voice, at this time before we
Lots of
close?
thoughts. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of thoughts. So I'm just wondering what are the ways in which I can counsel my team to de-stress themselves. I usually follow music. I even while I'm working and I know that I will have to be at work and finish off stuff that will take like the next 6 hours. I
Yeah.
cannot disconnect immediately. So at such a time, I kind of plug in my earbuds and start listening to music while I'm working. I try to take on such assignments that do not require me to communicate with others at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that is my definition of getting disconnected. And I'm thinking if I can go ahead and suggest that to my team member. She's a young girl
Mm.
and she's recently joined us also.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'm just thinking if I can candidly pass that
Yes.
suggestion.
Amazing. So you're saying stress is real, challenging situations are real, but there are ways to manage it. Yeah, yeah. And you seem to have figured a way out in the madness.
Yes. Over these years,
Yeah, over
over
these years,
the
yeah.
years of being an individual contributor, as in, being without a team and then with a team and all of that.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so, so, so much for this conversation.
Thank you, Deepa. It was heartwarming to have this wonderful conversation with you.
Lovely, lovely.